Sam 105, Santa Cruz. No response. Sam 105, Santa Cruz. No response. Sam 105, Sergeant Loran Butch Baker ended his watch on Tuesday, February 26, 2013. (172) Santa Cruz. No response. 172 Santa Cruz. No response. 172 Detective Elizabeth Butler ended her watch on Tuesday, February 26, 2013. Though you are gone, your service to your community and the sacrifices you made will never be forgotten. May your courage and valor live on in the hearts of those who came to honor you today. Santa Cruz, Claire, KMA 233.
The Santa Cruz Police Memorial, a salute to Officers Butler and Baker.
You heard it right there. Gone, but not forgotten. Detective Sergeant Loran Butch Baker and Detective Elizabeth Butler lost their lives in the line of duty just over a week ago. I'm Jazz. This is Mark.
What a day it has been today. They were remembered in what became a massive show of love and support. And love so big that the memorial was moved 30 miles up the road to the HP Pavilion in San Jose.
And that's where we find our reporter, Brooke Holmquist. She's been there all day covering this very emotional event. Brooke, what a day for everyone.
And Jasmine, it is unbelievable the change of weather we've had in just the last few minutes. Literally, the ceremony ended, people poured out, the procession went down the street, and now it is starting to rain. It is an unbelievable sign of a hard day that just ended.
It was like how you may have imagined it. Something out of a movie. But this is real, and it happened to us, to the whole community.
I'm going to miss his laughter in the halls of the police station.
See, Sergeant Butch Baker and Detective Elizabeth Butler represented something much bigger than themselves.
He gave our city the best of every time he put on the uniform.
They represented every day at their worst what we should all strive to be on our best day.
I will ask myself, how would Beth handle this?
Alexis Butler fought back tears as she talked about her sister.
She was a breath of fresh air.
Saying Detective Butler wished that more women would be police officers.
Elizabeth, my love.
And the bravery of her partner and little boy showed that exemplary work on the force she also brought home.
We will miss you so much.
But through the pain, some much-needed comic relief.
I don't know if Butch is the first guy to wear shorts in heaven.
And everybody who knew Butch knows that they've been butched at least once, don't you? Santa Cruz?
It's the only way Butch Baker's brothers in arms said he would have wanted it.
We talked about who we wanted to be as men, who we wanted to be as leaders, and how deeply he cared for the men and women of the Santa Cruz Police Department.
And Mark and Jasmine, I just wanted to show you these two programs from the memorial. I'm going to read you a quote right now from the front of Elizabeth Butler's. She says, "Goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes, for those who love with their heart and soul. There is no such thing as separation." And that was one thing that was asked today from the memorial, is that the community never forget and try every day to live up to the example that these two officers did. Brooke Holmquist in San Jose, your Central Coast News.
Well, you know, just watching there, sitting here on the desk, I mean, we got a sense of who Butler and Baker, who they were. I mean, it was just incredible, the family and friends that spoke. Brooke, thanks for the report. Inside that pavilion, again, we heard from the friends, the family, even city leaders, all sharing those stories about Detectives Baker and Butler.
Now, among some of the top dignitaries, former Defense Secretary Leon Panetta.
For those of us who were born and raised on the Central Coast of California, we are truly all part of one family.
Well, Panetta went on to say they paid the ultimate price. After his speech, Attorney General Kamala Harris stepped up to the podium to speak as well. Well, Panetta and Harris, just two in the crowd of thousands. Central Coast News reporter Chloe Beardsley was tracking the entire memorial service, joining us here in the newsroom with more of these heartfelt moments from our state and local leaders. Chloe?
Well, that's right, Mark. It was a very somber and quiet day as the memorial for the two detectives took place. Speeches given today talked about the legacy the two fallen officers leave behind at the Santa Cruz Police Department. Government leaders like Attorney General Kamala Harris addressed the crowd of thousands about the sacrifice of being an officer.
It takes a very special kind of person to get up every day, put on a badge, and take on all the problems of a troubled world. Please know, California will always remember them as heroes. Heroes whose assignment here is finished, but whose light will never be extinguished.
Former U.S. Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta walked slowly to the podium. When he spoke about Detective Sergeant Butch Baker and Detective Elizabeth Butler, he compared them to the military men and women who serve and sacrifice.
These officers that we honor today were also our warriors, fighting to keep us safe. And they too gave their lives for their community and for our family.
Santa Cruz Mayor Hillary Bryant said losing someone this close to home is something that will remain in our minds forever. But it wasn't all sadness and sorrow at the memorial. Deputy Chief Steve Clark lightened the mood with some jokes. He knew Detectives Butch and Butler would have enjoyed them and would have wanted everyone to remember the good times they shared with family and friends while they were here.
Well, as we saw there, the word family, it goes far beyond those that just share the same name. It's really a community, even a state, that came together to remember and help. Our
reporter Michelle Polito has more from San Jose with how officers across the state came together to honor the fallen officers. Michelle?
Mark, since very early morning, the people started gathering outside the HP Pavilion in San Jose. There was also a very strong presence of law enforcement from all over California. Let's go ahead and take a look at some video from earlier today. Each and every one of these officers are in grief, and they have been since the last month when two Santa Cruz police officers were gunned down. I spoke to many officers, and the majority of them told me that even though some of them never met Detective Butch Baker or Elizabeth Butler, it was as if they had lost one of their own. Some of the officers have been in San Jose since yesterday, and many of them drove several hours from different cities in California.
Anybody who wears a badge and a gun understands that when this sort of thing happens, it could just as easily happen to them or to one of their close friends, and it's you automatically have an emotional tie to it.
Some of the few law enforcement agencies that came in were from Santa Barbara, Merced, San Rafael, Rockland, Placer County, Morgan Hill, Tiburon, Mill Valley, Orange County, and we never saw the officers from Canada, but we did hear that they were also here. San Jose police officer Jason Dwyer also tells me that we had officers all the way from Australia here today. Michelle Polito, live in San Jose, your Central Coast News.
All right, thanks, Michelle. And you could find dozens of people even inside the Kaiser Permanente Arena earlier today in Santa Cruz, watching the memorial from afar, but still a very much part of it.
Yeah, Brianna Berman-Solo spent the day inside talking to community members. And Brianna, what can you tell us?
Different scene here tonight compared to earlier today at the Kaiser Arena. Imagine this entire basketball court filled, lined with hundreds of white chairs. This was the place to be if you couldn't make it to San Jose, but still wanted to feel like you were a part of the memorial service, watching it live on a big screen TV. Locals today told me they're grieving right along with the Santa Cruz Police Department and wanted to pay their respects.
Obviously, we'll be praying often for everybody involved.
This is a very tight-knit community, and I'm so happy to see so many people out here today. It's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
As awful as it is, I think it's something that's important to be a part of.
Important enough to pull your daughter out of school today?
Absolutely, 100%, yes.
Just a lot of support from all the people here.
We tell them that we support you. We support you 100%, and we thank you for making a difference in our community.
Santa Cruz Police and the County Sheriff's Department went up to San Jose for the memorial service in person. One sergeant stayed behind to share in the service here at Santa Cruz, and I'll share his story at 6 p.m. Live in Santa Cruz, I'm Brianna Berman-Solo, your Central Coast News.
All right, Brianna, thanks for that. As Santa Cruz Police went up to San Jose to mourn the loss of their fallen officers, we're learning how other agencies stepped in to help patrol the streets.
That's right. Central Coast News reporter Jacqueline Twala live at the Santa Cruz Police Department, where, Jackie, the department may have been empty today, but the streets, they were still protected.
That's right, Jazz. Today would have been a regular work day here at the Santa Cruz Police Department, but many of the officers obviously are not here today. But people continue to come here at this growing memorial. There's actually some officers here right now and a resident local here continuing to leave, you know, candles and flowers and cards. And it's a good thing that there's this tent out here because the rain is really starting to come down. And meanwhile, multiple agencies here locally are showing their support out on the streets.
It's just that brotherhood, sisterhood that we have with the other agencies, that you're there to lend a hand and help.
Deputy April Scallon with the Santa Cruz Sheriff's Office says it's that close bond and a tight-knit community that keeps them all grounded. So when Santa Cruz Police needed backup on the streets today to lay two of their finest officers to rest, her department willingly stepped up.
I can't even tell you how many people just showed up to work that we didn't even call them to come in, but they just show up because that's what we do. You know, those are your friends, those are your family.
Help also came from Monterey County, UC Santa Cruz Police, and California Highway Patrol. The Salinas Police Department even made the trip. It sent 2 officers to cover the memorial at the Kaiser Permanente Arena and another 2 at the memorial at Del Mar Theater downtown.
We understand how difficult it is for the police officers that work here and work with the officers that were murdered, and so it was important for us to help them out so they could go to the funeral.
Even if that meant taking some of their traffic patrol units off of their own streets.
So the city's not really paying any overtime. They're just losing that service that would have been in Salinas today.
While Santa Cruz Police paid their respects to Sergeant Butch Baker and Detective Elizabeth Butler in San Jose, they couldn't be more moved by the love they received back at home.
It's overwhelming. I can't even start to get my head around that.
Now we asked Santa Cruz Police, how can you even move forward from something like this, or can you even move forward from something like this? And Deputy Chief Steve Clark said that he urges the community to continue doing what they've been doing by showing their love and support and never forgetting the legacy these 2 officers left behind. Jacqueline Twala in Santa Cruz, your Central Coast News.
Jackie, thanks for that. And, you know, Jackie was right there on the procession route there at 8:45 this morning on Ocean Street as it came through, and everyone on the street. More coverage here of the memorial on the news at 6 p.m.
We're going to leave you with these photos.